Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Secret Sunday session. Welcome back to season 5 of the podcast, the very new season. And I'm very excited to kick off this season with Caitlin Parker. Welcome, Caitlin. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So exciting to have you on, considering I'd imagine the last 12 months that you've had, obviously going to the Paris Olympics and claiming a medal, being the first Australian female boxer to do so. I mean, what a journey, and I can't wait to unpack it all. But firstly, for those people that are not aware of who you are and what you do, who is Caitlin Parker and what does she do with herself?
Caitlin Parker is, well, I guess for most of my life has been a boxer. So I started when I was 11. But first off, she just thought she was just a boxer, but then she kind of, realized, I don't know why I'm saying this in all third person, but realized I'm more than just a boxer. And I'm me. I love my family, big family person. My family just moved back. We're all together again in the same place, not this different country, which is amazing for me. And I don't know, besides boxing, I guess I just love like going to the beach, like being relaxed, being with my dog, but also like kind of having this growth mindset of just improving, always trying to better myself in some kind of way. But and that's obviously been in the boxing space for a very long time, which has been great that I can put all my energy there. You know what I mean? Like it's been this Olympic goal for many, many years, and then it's changed to an Olympic gold medal that I always wanted. And now I'm here after coming off a bronze medal at the Paris Olympics, and it still honestly felt like my dreams come true.
That's amazing. And it just feels like my cup up so much knowing that you were able to achieve that goal, and in seeing that within yourself and how you talk about it. It's obviously something that was so big for you. And I mean, we do look at that and we look at the outcome of what has been such a lengthy journey. But as you mentioned, this started when you were 11. Like, what led you to enter a boxing ring or to sign up and start training and being involved in boxing in the first place?
Yeah, well, I was doing a few different sports to start with, and I was really grateful my parents put me into a whole lot of different sports to try and find what I liked. But they were really big around sport. Like, well, Mum, she's probably the most unsporty person I've ever met. Like, she's never done a sport in her life. But my dad, on the other hand, like, he always wanted to do heaps of sports, but he just didn't really have those opportunities. And so I guess he wanted to kind of be that supportive parent that was, like they would just revolve their whole life around us, which I'm like super grateful for, because they'd take us to all sorts of different sports. But not only that, they would work 7 days a week. My dad, like 2 jobs a day, and my mum would work multiple jobs and like sell pies and stuff to be able to fundraise to get us there, because they didn't come from much, but they wanted to give us all the opportunity, myself and my brother, that they could. So did a whole lot of different sports. But one thing we wanted to do was, because we were in like a low socioeconomic area, it was a bit rough, and like my dad just wanted to make sure that I could defend myself before I was able to walk to school by myself. So I had to get a black belt in Taekwondo first, and I kind of got into that combat sports. I did jiu-jitsu, I did grappling, and because of that, when I got into boxing, a lot of people thought, you're going to do MMA, UFC, and I was like, oh, no. Now I love the sport of boxing, and when I started that when I was 11 years old, I just never really looked back. I really enjoyed it. I was always the only girl in the gym, and I just remember there was heaps of kids running around and stuff, and I was just like, the first boxing gym I went to, and I was like, I want to take this seriously. Like these guys are just here for fun, and I'm here to work, and I want to I was very determined from a young age, and I don't remember why. I just wanted to like be the best. I always wanted to be the best. I was just super competitive. So I started boxing, went to this other boxing gym not long after, which ended up being Fox, who was my first coach, and he taught me to be tough, but he also made me love the sport. When I walked in the gym there, it was scary. I was very self-conscious, very shy, and it was zero confidence at all. And I'd just stand behind my parents the whole time. And you eventually kind of get out of your shell, especially with Fox. He kind of made you like that. And he introduced me to one of the boys. And he goes, "This is who you're going to work with today." And he said, he's the Australian champion. I was like, oh my God, that is
Wow.
so cool. Like, I want to be the best in Australia. And that's where the goal started. That's when I was like, right, I have that goal. I want to be the best in Australia. And then so on.
Wow. Was it intimidating walking into a gym at such a young age and realizing that you were the only female in that gym?
Well, I guess I was a bit of a tomboy growing up. Like, even in kindy, I remember like mum mum wanted me to wear a dress for like, and I was like, what, 4? And I was like, no, like I don't want to, I remember that. So
Yeah.
I just remember being a tomboy from such a young age, and just, I don't know, I guess I wanted to do all the boy sports. Like, my first sport was actually dancing, and I was like 4 or 5, and I remember then wanting to be a ballerina. That goal kind of changed quite quickly when I went into those combat sports, and I played rugby. I played a bit of cricket. Cricket wasn't, I don't know, I guess fast paced enough for me. I loved being in there and batting and bowling, but if I wasn't doing that, I was just bored.
Yep.
So,
And that's a lot of the game.
yes, yeah. went into rugby, and again, I was like the only girl on the field. And I guess what kind of pushed me was that I'd hear the boys going, "Oh, look at that girl over there," kind of implying that I was less, oh, look at that girl, and I would just make it my goal for that game. I was like, I'm going to tackle you extra hard, or, I'd always want to prove myself. And I don't know if I was proving myself to myself or to them or to everyone else, but I just wanted to be the best. And yeah, and that didn't stop me whether I was the only girl. And I kind of guess what helped with me was that I was tall quite quickly. No, I was big for my age, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I remember, I was like 12 or 13, and I was already 70 kilos, and I fight at 75 kilos now in my boxing. So, from 13 being the same, size as I am now, finding people my age. I was bigger than most of the guys on the team. There was a couple of big ones, but I wasn't scared of them. I'd be the one that gets in there and tackles them. Or in the boxing ring, it's hard to find people my age and weight, so I couldn't fight for years. But the first time I did have a fight, or I could get into the ring, so I was 13 against a 25-year-old woman. Oh. They wouldn't really do that now.
Yeah.
Back in my day, no, it wasn't that long ago, but it was just an exhibition. So it was an opportunity for me to finally get in the ring after years of training, 2 years of training without even getting into the ring against a 25-year-old. And, it was just, I was grateful to get in there. And not long after that, I was on a journey, and I went to the national championships, and then, to the world championships after that, 14.
Wow, it sounds like you have such grit in you at such a young age, just to get out there and really prove yourself. As you said, that was such a motivator for you. Do you feel that, like, often I hear similar stories play out that people, are in sports because they want to prove something, especially sports when it is independent and you are on your own. And for example, when you're in the ring, it's, I want to prove to that person, or I want to prove to my family, or there's that underlying battle of wanting to prove to yourself that you can do it. Sometimes it can fall into a toxic mindset as well, because you're constantly coming from a place of, I just want to do it for them. Did you feel like you battled with that at all, or you generally always just had this passion for loving the sport?
It's actually a good question, because I think a lot of the time, I think it's a bit of both. Like, I want to do it for me, but there's other motivations there. Like, I want to do it to be the best. I want to do it to show my family that their sacrifices were worth it when they would work all their life. They didn't have a life for themselves because they put it all into raising money to get myself and my brother to training and to competitions and to give us those opportunities. So I wanted to do it for them. But yeah, I think I'm a bit of a people pleaser as well. So when my coach would be like, like, I want you to do this, I would make sure, like, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I want to do that for him. I want to make sure he knows that I'm like doing it well, because I like the praise. I like them going, oh, good work. I'm very, I'm very receptive to positive reinforcement. If a coach starts like yelling at me and going, you're crap, that's like, I don't respond the same. Like, you're not going to get the same results. I think that's most people. I know some people, even in my team and stuff, that like really respond well to that like negative criticism. But no, I like positivity. I like you telling me I'm good, because I want to like keep showing you like, yes, I'm good. But I guess that kind of helps, because you can't always be self-motivated. And I mean, you're driven in a way. Like I always knew what my goals were. Like I set my goals from an early age, and I always had my mind on that. But sometimes you need that stuff to get through the everyday training. And I was grateful to have two amazing coaches in my career that that worked well with me, and that I don't know, helped me, Fox, from an early age, helped me become the person I am and helped me be tough. And basically with him, I'd get in there and I'd just swing and I'd be strong. I know that nothing can get through me because I'd been sparring the boys and the men. And I knew that like no person my age, no woman my age was going to get through me. So that was good. And then Marcos later on, I'm skipping here, there, and everywhere, but
That's
two
right,
amazing.
I'm following. I'm keeping up.
Marcos in later years, when I moved to Melbourne, so I'm originally from Perth. He also like just really worked well with me, like knew me. Just when a coach like understands your personality a little bit, like they don't have to cater for every single person, but it's a great skill for a coach to be able to see and adapt. And Marcos knew that I had already developed myself a lot as an athlete. I knew what I liked and disliked, what worked for me, what didn't. So he would work with that and also push me in different ways.
Incredible. And it sounds like you've really been able to achieve what you have by like such amazing support networks, which is so pivotal with so many people that go through anything in life. But you keep coming back to this idea that you just wanted to be the best. And I think I have that motivator as well. No matter what I like put my mind to, it's like I have to be at the top tier. And if I'm not, well, I'm backing out. Like there's no point. But for you, like the best, when you think about wanting to achieve that, what is there for you? What is at that best? What is that idea? What is that result going to give you? And why do you strive for it?
Well, I guess it's just it like when you kind of get there, you just look to the future. So for me, like one thing I always said is like one quote that's like stuck with me since I was young was the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next. So keep climbing. So for me, like, okay, I was the best in the state to start with, but I didn't really celebrate that or think. It just straight away just changed for me to, okay, now I want to be the best in Australia. And then it went to like, you want to be the best in the world. You really do. And it's hard as well to kind of keep yourself at that level. Like people are always coming for you. I remember I was that one coming for the top when I'd come into the elites, the ones that were going to the Olympics. There was a woman that had been there for years on top, and I was like, I need to, like, it was just in me, like I needed to beat her with everything I had. I bet her to go to the Rio 2016 Olympic trials, because that was my goal. That was my first goal when I found out that women's boxing was in the Olympics, because Olympics, boxing is one of the oldest Olympic sports. Women were only allowed in the Olympics for boxing in 2012. So I remember finding that out, and I was like, that's my goal. That's it. After this is the goal. I wanted to be best in Australia. Now I'm like, I'm going to the Olympics. That's what I want to do.
It's basically, I think what we're talking about is honestly, it's that chase. It's like the benchmark keeps moving. You reach the best and then you want to go again and then you want to go again. And I feel that it's innate in us as humans to not look back once we reach that top and then to reach for something else. But I think I am going to pivot a little bit and then ask, does that ever get exhausting then, that you're like the benchmark constantly keeps moving and you never stop because it's just there's always something greater to achieve?
I think for me, what I've found in my journey is like having a bit of balance with that. So yeah, like I've been so motivated for my goals. Like I've missed so many things, like pivotal big moments in my friends' lives, in families' lives, and I've always been so determined on that goal. And I'm glad to have, like you said, an amazing support network around me that actually understands that. But yeah, sometimes you get like I accomplished something, like I accomplished something big, but then I'm like, no, like that's it's not the end. And yeah, it does get exhausting, but I think I just pushed it all to the back of my mind for so long. So it would just be like the constant, the next goal. And when like I went for the Rio 2016 Olympics, I went to the international qualifiers, I lost. I was gutted. I was so gutted. But, I didn't give myself a chance. Like when I came back home, I gave myself maybe a couple of weeks, and then I was straight back to it. But it's all kind of, I've just been, again, motivated. And then I kind of got coming up to this Paris Olympics. I could feel it. I could feel it all like in the back of my mind. I was like, you need to have like a long break after this. Like I could feel it all coming, because it's been 17 years since I started boxing. It's been 13 years since I've started fighting for Australia. So on the Australian team for 13 years. And like I had pushed it all back and back and back and just been like so motivated. And then after this Paris Olympics and jumping on the podium, being on the podium, receiving the Olympic medal, a massive dream of mine come true. I could feel it all kind of come to me after that. As soon as I kind of got home, I was like, I'm so exhausted. And it wasn't just exhausted from the massive emotions of the Olympics. I could feel it in my bones. I was so exhausted from the whole journey and not giving myself that time to stop and appreciate the moment. So even as soon as I got back, I was asked, like the next day even, what's next? Like, I know everyone's so excited for me. What's next for you? And I was like, right now, it's hard to even think about what's next because I'm just exhausted. Like I need to give myself a mental and physical rest. So yeah, like I guess I didn't really notice it as much in my boxing, but after those years and years and years, it kind of, I guess, caught up to me a little bit. And now I'm giving myself that moment. But it's also a moment for me to take in that accomplishment after all the years of literal blood, sweat, and tears. Now I finally accomplished that goal. And although it wasn't that goal like I'd manifested and envisioned and, you know, did everything for it, was a screensaver on my phone. I wouldn't wear silver jewelry. I wouldn't wear any clothes with grey on it. Or my shoes had a little bit of grey on it. I wouldn't wear it because that to me was, you know, I'm gold-minded, gold-focused. And when I got the bronze medal, I was able to straight away just be like, even in the ring, I just got the other girl got her hand raised. So, you know, she ended up winning the gold medal. I got the bronze. In the ring, I looked around. I was looking around at the crowd, and I was like, "You've done it. You've done it. Like you've got an Olympic medal, the first ever female from Australia." And I should say boxing, but I was able to shift that mindset and then just be super grateful for being there, being at the Olympics, being, you know, for all the training that I've done, the years and years that have led to this, and then get home and just be like, I'm tired. I can enjoy this moment. I can enjoy the celebration. That was not tiring at all. That was the most exciting thing. But I was like, I don't want to think about getting in the boxing ring in the next like 6 months.
Oh, actual goosebumps, like listening to that. And I'm so intrigued because I spoke to Harry about obviously his Olympic journey before he went to the Olympics. And he was the same with all of his obviously gold metrics and the mindset around like the screensaver and the drink bottle and all these little traits that added up. Talk me through, as someone that's obviously not in that space or not pursuing the Olympics or a gold medal, what is that manifestation doing to you, do you believe, in your journey to help you get in the right mindset for the Olympics?
Well, so my screensaver, it was the picture of the gold medal, but under it, I wrote, make gold medal decisions every day. And that was just to remind me every time I open my phone, because we do it a lot during the day, right? Every time I look at that, it would be a little reminder, you know, do I want to, you know, do this or should I be? So, okay, I get really excited, and like if we're playing like card games and stuff at night, I won't sleep for ages because I'm too like hyped up. Yeah. And it kind of be a reminder like, okay, we can play those games, but like make those gold medal decisions every day. So right, I need to go to bed at the exact same time every day so that I can wind down and rest and have a good night's sleep every night. So that contributes all up. And it's probably like 0.5%, or sleeping not so much, but like those little decisions, they all add up to that one goal. And that's just little reminders around me every day to say, okay, you know what your goal is, you know what you've been working for, all those hard sprint sessions and all those times you got punched in the face, like, you know, it wasn't for nothing. Like it's for this goal, and you're going to do everything in your power to. And I literally did everything in me went towards this Paris Olympics. It had been a learning journey. Like I'd said, I'd been on the Australian team 13 years. I'd learned a lot in this journey, and it was definitely not this upward cycle. It was up, down, some massive lows in there. And, you know, just to remind myself, like, it's all for this. All of that, those losses, they weren't losses, they were learning. You know, the cliches, it was learning. So, yeah.
Wow. Did you ever not want to do it? Like not want to get up at a certain time and go to training and not want to pursue those little 1% behaviors every day?
All the time, all the time. I don't love training, that's for sure.
I think
Yeah,
then the counter argument is that if you don't love training, why do you do it?
because I'm determined. Because when I get in the ring, I think so. The thing that's so addicting about this for me is after all of that hard work, you get your hand raised in the ring. It's the best feeling in the world. I cannot say anything else. Like nothing's close to that. There's so much relief, excitement, happiness, like you've done it. And there's something like when you work so hard and you're so uncomfortable for ages and then you finally accomplish it, like it's just, yeah, I can't even put it into words. It is the best feeling. And getting to travel around the world and have these amazing experiences with my sport, again, incredible. I'd never have traveled outside of, you know, Australia and New Zealand without sport. And there's like the people that you're with, your teammates, you're all going through this together. There's other things for me. So yes, I don't love training. I don't love training all the time, but I do love sparring. So I don't like the running and I don't like the fitness side of it.
Yeah.
That's probably the you know, because I'm not great at the running side of things. I'm probably like the slowest on the Australian team or one of. And then, you know, like all of that hard work. Okay, now when it comes to the boxing side of things, right, can get the head guard on, mouth guard in, boxing gloves on, like let's go. Like this is the best part. It's so stimulating. It's so interesting. Punching a bag, boring. I find it so boring unless I'm really focusing on like, right, this is the person I'm fighting and I've got some cues and things. I need lots of like, you know, tactics or, okay, right, you're fighting a southpaw, a left-hander, tall, you got to box them. I've got to have things like that in my head or I'm just bored out of my brain. So when I've got someone in front of me moving, trying to punch me, I've got so much to think about and I'm just on. My eyes just widen up so much and I'm like ready to go.
Oh, it's phenomenal to hear how much boxing gives you. And obviously it's played such a pivotal role in your journey, but you can't have sport forever. We know that. And we know that unfortunately, a lot of the time in sport, athletes don't have a long career because it's not meant to be that way. And for you, when you identify so much with boxing, have you prepared yourself for that day that does come, that when it does end, like who are you and who do you turn up as without boxing?
Yeah. Well, again, for me, growing up, as soon as I'd finished school, my mindset was I have to not think of anything else. Like nothing else can get in my way or my focus. It has to be all on boxing. And then it got to a point in like COVID when you have this time. I just qualified for the Olympics.
Oh.
Happiest moment of my life. Get home and they're like, maybe the Olympics is going to be cancelled. I was just stuck at home. I just moved to Melbourne, stuck at home.
Oh, the worst time to move to Melbourne.
Exactly. I couldn't go to the boxing gym. I was just stuck in my house. I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? So I was got back into study and that was great because I found that it really like stimulated my brain and I did some stuff with sports coaching and development. So it was really, I could see the parallels to when I was boxing, when I was doing things, I could see the units that I was learning that were like, oh, you know, this makes sense. So that was good. But unfortunately, you had to be in person for half of it and I was just traveling way too much. I couldn't keep up with it. And after deferring it a few times, I had to get out of it, which I hate. I don't think I've ever quit anything in my life. I haven't. And that's the first thing I had to just, I don't even want to say quit. Like I had to, I wasn't even there. I was like, oh, I'm going to get back to it. But yeah, now after the Olympics and after the traveling settled down a little bit, like I was away for 6 months at a time. Sometimes in those travel periods, I was away for 10 months of a year, 9 months straight. That was ridiculous, that one. That was during COVID times after the Olympics. Didn't want to come back to Melbourne and get stuck in there. So I just kept traveling and boxing and yeah, eventually that wore me out, that's for sure. But now, now I'm at this point in my life where I'm having a break from the boxing side of things. I'm trying to Actually, I'm trying to create a better relationship with exercise and with food for me, because with boxing we have to cut weight a lot, and along the journey I've been either putting on weight after a competition, losing weight to get to my fight weight, and it's just been this yo-yo thing. And now I've got to create this relationship where I'm like, okay, I'm not training as much. I need to calm down, eat well, eat what's good for me, because it's not what I wasn't eating. I was just eating to fuel my training, to recover from my training. It was always just around that those goals that I had. Now I'm like, okay, I don't want to go to the boxing gym. What am I going to do? Like, I need to keep myself active. I want to feel good. So go for a swim, do other things that I don't usually get to do. So I'm just in this point, I'm still in it, that's for sure, of like creating this better relationship around that, and training, and then also now finding what I want to do afterwards. So I'm just taking up all these opportunities. People are saying, oh, you want to come to this? You want to come to this? I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Take me to everything so I can meet different people, see what I want to do, and yeah, figure it all out. But yeah, I'm like 28 years old and I still don't know what the hell I want to do. But I
Do
just
we
know
ever
that,
know?
no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just in this, like, it's just me, or is it?
No.
Please tell me everyone's like that.
Trust me, no. Like myself, even the amount of times that every day I wake up and think, God, is this where I want to be in my life? Like, what do I want to do when I grow up? I still question that like every day, as a like in my 20s as well. And I think that we never should settle as well, because as we mentioned, like the goalposts keep changing, and sometimes we like this direction, and then other times we like other directions, and we should just follow with how we feel. I don't think there's a set path for us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As long as you just keep doing little things to self-improve or grow in different ways, it doesn't have to be in the same way. There's so many different aspects of our lives, but I'm just trying to take up opportunities, learn something new, just to try and, yeah, improve. And then you never know what kind of opportunities come from that, or meeting different people, I think is a really cool one. I'm just getting out there, meeting a whole lot of different people, because you never know what kind of opportunities can come from different people, or different activities and adventures that can come from that.
Absolutely. And I think it's such an exciting period that you're in right now as well, because you're discovering like who you are outside of boxing for maybe the first time in a very long time. And as you said, you don't know where that leads. And it's amazing that you can even bring up the conversation around how boxing has made you felt, not only in the ring but outside of the ring, in terms of, as you said, your relationship with your body and your food. And I think that's one thing that doesn't really get talked about in the sporting industry, is it's always so goal driven that sometimes we don't reflect on the effects that it can take on your like physical and mental health when you're in a sport that is quite reliant on your weight. And as females, I feel it is a big pressure for us. It's definitely a pressure for males, but I feel like we're a lot harder on ourselves in terms of looking a certain way or feeling like we have to fuel ourselves a certain way to meet a certain standard. And did you struggle? I know you did mention more the physical aspect in relation to your food and that relationship, but in terms of like weigh-ins and how your body may have to change and look a certain way in order to meet the ring.
Cutting weight, making weight for me it's been a learning journey, that's for sure. So at a young age, when I'm 13, 14, trying to get into a certain division, I honestly, I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend fighting just where you are. I think that was what I didn't realize was going to be a struggle. And I guess that's where it started for me. But I'd get advice from the boys in the gym, and they weren't the best, I don't think, at cutting weight and giving advice. So they were telling me to just snack on like icy poles, and they'd snack on lollies and just like starve yourself basically. So silly. So
Yep.
silly.
Uneducated boys.
Yes, yes. And I was just I guess listening to them. And there was not really that information around the nutrition side of things. And I just really recommend people just find someone who knows what they're talking about and get that information, because I would be wearing sweatsuits for every single training session, or a plastic bag. You cut the holes for your head and your arms, and you put a plastic bag over your body, put your training clothes on, jumpers on, 40-degree day in Perth, running around the streets. And then I wouldn't really replenish myself with the water, because I'd see the weight drop, and it was just sweat. And I'd see it drop, and I'm like, okay, I can't drink too much. Like, I really, if I could go back in time, I really wish that like I could have given myself some more better information on cutting weight. I'd go to school and I'd just eat tuna and boiled eggs or apples. I'd just eat apples nonstop, and I'd be so hungry all the time. And yeah, I'd struggle to cut weight, and I'd be in the sauna and steam room and trying to get that last bit of weight off. But because I wasn't replenishing myself with that liquid, with I'm not hydrating myself, I was just struggling big time. Nowadays, like I've had the best dietitians at the WA Institute of Sport and the Victorian Institute of Sport, and that's been for the last, like, I'd say 5-6 years, where they've really given me proper advice, and I've been able to cut weight in the best way, and kind of just manipulating what different foods I'm eating, still giving myself enough and making sure I'm fueling myself for training and for the recovery. I didn't know anything about that either, so I wouldn't be eating that protein and stuff that I needed after my training sessions when I was younger, and that wouldn't have helped any of the recovery, or I didn't fuel myself right. So, having those right carbs before your training sessions. So big believer in getting nutrition advice and just not listening to the old school ways of trying to cut weight.
And the noise. There's so much information and noise out there that can lead you down a path that may not be the best for yourself, and as you said, even your training regime. So I think it's amazing that you're on this journey now and really exploring what that looks like without training. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you. Before I go to the box, there is a couple of questions I want to ask before we as well wrap it up. But takeaways, like, what is one takeaway that, I know there's probably many, but like the first thing that sort of pops into your head is one thing along your entire journey that has really summed up one thing that you have learnt that has stuck with you today?
I would say try and learn and absorb the feedback and the information that you get, and just write it down. Add tools to your toolbox. The way that I've developed my style in boxing has been through listening to some of the best coaches and different things. And if they've taught me a different skill, like a different way to throw a punch or just anything, I would try it out. If it didn't work for me, that's fine. You don't need to keep practicing it, working on it. Just add it to the toolbox. I just write everything down. Write down a really good session that you did. I just think just documenting it, writing it down for your sake, and just trying to learn, because there's so many different situations in your life where you might be thrown different things, but if you have those skills that you've learnt, you can perhaps use them. Add tools to your toolbox is what I'd say.
And I couldn't recommend that more. I feel that we've all got our own toolbox and our little kits, and it's about us along our journey, like picking up little things and adding them and then utilizing them throughout life. And it's everyone's is unique to them. I now am going to introduce, so there is a little bit of a story with this box, which I'm introducing just this season. So often, like, I get so caught up in the interview and learning about the person and their story that afterwards I then go, oh, I should have asked like this well-rounded question. And so I developed this box and this little segment that's called Hindsight. So in hindsight questions. So they're questions that I have compiled over last season that I should have asked during the podcast, but I didn't get a chance to. So there's multiple in there, and we're going to pick two. And the first one is, and I haven't looked at these in a while, so be prepared. I have no idea what they're going to say. First one is, if you knew what you knew now when you were younger, would you do things differently?
I think that literally goes back to what we just talked about with the nutrition side of things. I think that would be a big thing that I'd like to take back. But another thing as well is I wish that after school I had kept doing a little bit of study, even if it was 1 unit at a time, because I think that would have helped not only now and what I want to do, but it also would have helped with keeping my brain active in a different way and having a different focus, and not just having it all on boxing, so that when I didn't achieve something, like I didn't achieve going to the Rio Olympics, it wouldn't feel like my world and my life and my purpose was over. I think just having another purpose in my life and having a different goal in another way. So I wish that I had gone back and just continued doing bits of study throughout.
I'm going to add a little sub question there because it just triggered me to ask something else. In saying that, do you think at a young age you would have been able to be aware of, I know we're talking about in the aspect if we knew what we knew when we were younger, but at that age, I think sometimes we can think, I wish I knew this. But do you think at that age you would have had the capacity to think about that and to maybe be more open-minded to seeing that I need to pursue something else or I need to have a different thing in my life?
Yeah, I think would have had the capacity. I guess maybe if myself now, if I could go back, I'd like make myself do it. It's like, you are able to, you can do it.
Yeah.
But at that time I would have been like, no, everything needs to go on boxing, and like I need all my focus and energy to go there and nowhere else. So yeah, unless I made myself, I don't think I would have.
Yeah, I see that so often I work a lot with young people, and it's just like this one-minded thing, and it's like this is everything. And it's, as we mentioned, it's a lot of journeys until you realize you're at the end, or you've learnt something or had to go through something that you kind of had this perspective that, oh, only in hindsight, if I knew that. All right, question number 2. What is your definition of success?
It'd have to be my definition of success would have to be just, I don't know if that's cliche as well, but for me, it's just like performing the best that you absolutely can, being the best self that you can. So I know a lot of people, maybe they want to go to the Olympics, but there's only a small percentage they can. But I'd just say just being the best that you can, always showing up. And if you're showing up, training, getting the training done and performing to the best of your ability, maybe you don't win the fight. There's been fights that I performed amazing. I didn't win, but I was I was happy with myself, and that kind of felt like success. I wasn't down in the dumps that I had lost. I felt successful because I accomplished that skill that I learned in training. That came out in the ring. I used it and it worked a few times like that, so performing, training, learning what you have in training and performing it on the big stage, whether that be in sport, wherever, performing a learned skill successfully, I'd say.
That's incredible. And I think the perfect example is your Olympic journey, is that, as you said, you set out to achieve gold, but when you accepted that bronze, you felt like you'd reached success. And I know I've already said it, but congratulations on that journey. That is phenomenal to think how many years you've been in this sport to then make it to that ring, claim that first Aussie boxing medal, and now really able as well to honor yourself and take that break knowing that you need to step back. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for coming on today and sharing your story and what you've learned along your journey with our listeners. I am so grateful to have you on, especially during this period and to kick off our 5th season. But it has been an absolute privilege to have you on. I wish you the best of luck for the season ahead, no matter what that looks like, whether it's in the ring or outside of the ring. You do you and just enjoy it.
Thank you.
And thank you as well, everyone else, for joining us for another Secret Sunday session. We'll catch you guys all next time.